You plan on telling me where you were at 9 o'clock, or do we just sit here all night?
I already told you. Library, study group, 2 blocks from here. You can call the desk clerk. He scanned my ID when I walked in.
Yeah, well, that was about the same time someone was kicking in the back door on Maple.
Kyle, let's verify his...
The body camera light was already red when the first light hit the room. A young black man sat alone at a metal table, his hands flat, his shoulders tight, his breath shallow. Across from him, a white police officer leaned forward, voice sharp like broken glass. "Don't play dumb with me," the officer snapped. "You people always say the same thing." The room was small. Gray walls. No windows. Fluorescent lights buzzing like angry insects. Every word. Every breath. Every threat. All of it recorded. What the officer didn't know, what nobody in that room knew yet, was that the quiet man in the hoodie was not weak, not lost, and not the kind of person whose name could be dragged through the dirt without consequences. And when the truth came out, it would burn down careers, crack open a police department, and force a town to watch its own ugly reflection on the evening news. Before we go any further, take 1 second. Hit subscribe if you want real stories that expose truth and power, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Now let's get back to the room where everything went wrong. Stand up. Marcus Reed looked up slowly. His chair scraped loud against the floor as he obeyed. "I said stand up straight," Officer Kyle Hensley barked, his hand already resting on his belt. "You think this is a joke?" "I'm standing," Marcus said quietly. Kyle stepped closer. Too close. Close enough that Marcus could smell the officer's coffee breath and aftershave. "You keep looking at me like that," Kyle said, "and this gets real bad for you." Marcus blinked. "Sir, I'm just trying to understand why I'm here." Kyle laughed once. "Cool. Me. Why you're here," he said. "Because you fit the description." Marcus swallowed. "What description?" Kyle leaned back and crossed his arms. "Black male. Hoodie. Nervous. Out past midnight." "That's not a description," Marcus said softly. "That's just me being black." The room went quiet. In the corner, the camera blinked red. From the doorway, Sergeant Linda Morales watched without saying a word. Marcus Reed was 22 years old. Thin frame. Long fingers. A small scar above his left eyebrow from when he was 10 and fell off his bike. He wore a faded gray hoodie and old sneakers with a loose sole. Nothing about him looked powerful. That was the point. Marcus learned early how to disappear when needed. His mother, Yvette Reed, raised him alone in a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat in Dayton. She worked nights. She taught him rules the world never wrote down. Keep your hands open. Speak calm. Don't give them a reason. Marcus listened. He earned a scholarship to Briarwood State College. Studied public policy. Walked everywhere because his car, a dented blue Saturn, burned oil and smelled like old books. Tonight, he had stayed late at the campus library. Finals week. Too much coffee. Too little sleep. He never saw the police car until the lights were already flashing. Kyle Hensley had decided Marcus was guilty before the car stopped rolling. Kyle was 36. Broad chest. Crew cut. A man who liked order and hated being questioned. He called it command presence. Others called it fear. "You coming from somewhere you shouldn't be?" Kyle asked back on the street. "I'm coming from the library," Marcus said. Kyle smirked. "Sure you are." Then came the pat-down. Rough hands. Too long. Too personal. "Why you shaking?" Kyle asked. "Because you pulled a gun on me," Marcus said. Kyle's smile vanished. 10 minutes later, Marcus was in the back of the car. No cuffs. No charges. Just a ride he didn't ask for. Now here they were. The interrogation room. Kyle circled Marcus like a hunter. "Let me guess," Kyle said. "You thought nobody would notice you checking doors." "I didn't," Marcus replied. "Don't lie." "I'm not." Kyle slammed his hand on the table. The sound echoed hard. "You don't get to decide that." Marcus flinched but didn't raise his voice. "Am I being arrested?" he asked. "Or detained?" That question changed everything. Kyle stepped forward fast. His chair fell back. "Don't get smart with me," he hissed. "You're not in charge here." From the doorway, Sergeant Morales shifted her weight. Her jaw tightened. She had seen this before. She hated that she had. Kyle leaned in close. "You keep talking," he said, "and I'll find a reason." Marcus looked up at him. His hands trembled, but his eyes didn't. "I want a lawyer," Marcus said. Kyle laughed again. Loud. "A lawyer?" he said. "For what? You don't even know what you did." The camera caught everything. The tone, the threat, the smile. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Slowly. like someone sitting through a storm they already survived once before. "Officer," he said, calm as still water, "I need you to understand something." Kyle rolled his eyes. "Here we go." Marcus took a breath. "This room," he said, "is being recorded." Kyle pointed at the ceiling. "Good. Then you'll remember how cooperative I was." Marcus nodded. "And the questions you're asking me," Marcus continued, "are not legal without cause." Kyle's face darkened. "You studying law now?" he sneered. Marcus paused. Just a beat too long. "I study systems," he said. From the doorway, Sergeant Morales raised her head. Kyle scoffed. "You don't look like much of a student." Marcus didn't answer. What Kyle didn't know was that Marcus had sat in rooms like this before. Not as a suspect. As a witness. As an advisor. As someone people listened to when lives were on the line. But he didn't say that. Not yet. Kyle straightened his uniform. "Here's what's going to happen," he said. "You're going to tell me where you were. Who you were with. And if I don't like your answers, you're spending the night in a cell." Marcus looked at the table. "I was alone," he said. "Reading." Kyle shook his head. "See, that's your problem. You expect me to believe that." Marcus looked up. "Why wouldn't you?" Kyle's voice dropped. "Because guys like you don't spend Friday nights reading." The words hung in the air like smoke. Sergeant Morales inhaled sharply but stayed silent. Marcus closed his eyes for 1 second. Just one. When he opened them, his voice was steady. "I think we're done here," he said. Kyle laughed. "You don't get to decide when we're done." Marcus nodded slowly. "You're right," he said. "I don't." The buzzing lights grew louder. Or maybe it was the silence. Marcus sat still. Not scared. Not angry. Waiting. Kyle turned toward the door. "Sergeant, I think we hold him." Morales didn't move. "On what charge?" she asked. Kyle hesitated. "Suspicion," he said. Morales crossed her arms. "Of what?" Kyle opened his mouth. Closed it. The camera blinked red. Marcus leaned forward slightly. "Sergeant Morales," he said politely, "may I ask how long this footage is kept?" Morales looked at him. "Really looked." "Forever," she said. Marcus nodded. "Good." Kyle spun around. "What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus met his eyes. "It means," he said quietly, "someone is going to learn a lot from tonight." The room went still. And somewhere deep inside Kyle Hensley, something small and ugly began to feel like fear. Before anyone could speak again, there was a knock at the door. Then another. Then the handle turned. Kyle frowned. Who the hell? The door opened. And everything was about to change. What walked into that room would flip the balance of power so fast it would make the whole department dizzy. But that truth? That comes in Chapter 2. The door didn't just open. It swung. Art. The sound cracked through the room like a gunshot. Officer Kyle Hensley turned first, ready to bark, ready to command. The smile he wore a second ago fell straight off his face. 2 men stood in the doorway. One was tall and gray-haired, wearing a dark suit that didn't wrinkle. The other wore a simple jacket with no badge on the outside, but his eyes were sharp and calm, like someone trained to see danger before it moved. Behind them, the hallway filled with quiet motion. Radios. The low hum of authority. Sergeant Linda Morales stiffened. "Chief," she said. Kyle blinked. "Chief Rourke." Chief Daniel Rourke stepped into the room. Late 50s. Weathered face. The kind of man who spoke less because he never had to repeat himself. "Yes," Rourke said. "Chief." Kyle straightened fast. "Sir, we're in the middle of an interview." Rourke didn't look at him. He looked at Marcus. And he nodded. "Evening, Mr. Reed." Kyle froze. Marcus stood slowly. "Evening, Chief Rourke," he said. Kyle's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Chief Rourke turned to Kyle at last. "Officer Hensley," he said, "step back from the table." Kyle didn't move. "Sir?" Kyle asked, confused. Rourke's voice stayed calm. "Now." Kyle stepped back. The second man entered fully now. He pulled out a small black wallet and opened it just enough for Morales to see. Her eyes widened. She swallowed. "Sir," she said quietly. The man nodded once. "My name is Elias Crown," he said. "Federal oversight." Kyle felt the room tilt. "Federal." Marcus cleared his throat. "I told you," he said softly, "someone would learn a lot tonight." Kyle laughed, sharp and nervous. "This is some kind of joke." Chief Rourke turned toward him fast. "This is not a joke," he said. "Sit down." Kyle sat. His hands shook. Chief Rourke gestured to Marcus. "Officer Hensley," he said, Do you know who you just threatened? Kyle stared at Marcus. Woody. Old shoes. Calm eyes. No, he said. I don't. Rourke nodded. That's the problem. He turned to Morales. Sergeant, would you mind? Morales took a breath. Marcus Reed, she said, voice steady now, is a decorated Army intelligence officer. Honorably discharged. Bronze Star. Purple Heart. Kyle's head snapped up. Marcus didn't smile. Morales continued. He is also a senior analyst working under a federal civil rights task force. He advises on police conduct, bias training, and use of force policy. The words landed one by one. Kyle's ears rang. That's not, Kyle started. Elias Crown stepped forward. Tonight, Crown said, Mr. Reed was in Briarwood to observe. Quietly. No notice. No press. Kyle's breath came fast. Marcus spoke again. I didn't come looking for trouble, he said. I came to see how things really work. Kyle whispered, You set me up. Marcus shook his head. No, he said. You showed me exactly who you are. Elias Crown reached over and picked up the remote from the table. He pressed a button. Kyle's own voice filled the room. You people always say the same thing. Kyle flinched. Crown pressed pause. Officer Hensley, he said, how long have you been on the force? 12 years, Kyle muttered. And in those 12 years, Crown asked, how many times have you said that sentence? Kyle didn't answer. Crown pressed play again. The threat, the step forward, the hand on the belt. Morales closed her eyes. Rourke watched Kyle closely. That footage, Rourke said, was live-streamed to a secure federal server the moment Mr. Reed asked if he was detained or arrested. Kyle looked up. Live? Marcus nodded. Automatic trigger. Kyle's face drained of color. Crown clicked the remote off. Officer Hensley, he said, you are relieved of duty effective immediately. Kyle shot to his feet. You can't do that. Rourke stood too. I can, he said. And I am. Kyle's voice cracked. Chief, please. I didn't know. Marcus met his eyes. That never stopped you before, he said. Crown continued, calm and sharp. There will be a full investigation. Your badge. Your weapon. Kyle hesitated. Rourke held out his hand. Kyle placed the badge there. Then the gun. The sound of metal on metal echoed loud. Morales watched, her eyes wet. Bystanders had gathered at the door now. Officers who had heard whispers. Phones already out. Kyle looked around wild-eyed. This isn't fair, he said. Marcus tilted his head. You never asked for fair, he said. You asked for control. The tension broke slowly, like ice melting. Kyle was escorted out. No cuffs. Just shame. As the door closed, the red camera light kept blinking. Marcus sat back down. Rourke pulled out a chair across from him. I'm sorry, the chief said. This should not have happened. Marcus nodded. I know. Morales stepped forward. I should have stopped it sooner, she said. Marcus looked at her. You stopped it when it mattered, he said. That counts. She wiped her eyes. Crown checked his watch. The footage will be public by morning, he said. Rourke sighed. The city will lose sleep. Marcus stood. Good, he said. Maybe they'll wake up. Outside, the night air felt clean. Marcus walked past the same police car that had brought him here. The same street light. The same sidewalk. Nothing had changed. Everything had. Morales walked beside him. You could have ended him sooner, she said. Marcus shook his head. No, he said. People need to see the whole thing. Start to finish. She nodded. What keeps you so calm, she asked. Marcus thought of his mother. Her rules. Her tired smile. I've been louder before, he said. It didn't work. They stopped. Morales held out her hand. Thank you, she said. Marcus shook it. For what, he asked. For staying, she said. Most wouldn't. Marcus smiled small. Someone has to. Marcus turned to leave. Before he did, Chief Rourke called out. Mr. Reed, he said, what should we do now? Marcus stopped. He didn't turn around. Listen, he said. Even when it's quiet. Then he walked into the dark. The camera inside kept blinking. Red. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel for more truth-filled stories that matter. And here's the question we want you to answer in the comments. Do you think cameras change behavior, or do they only reveal what was already there? Let's talk.